Good evening, everybody. Today is Sunday, the 28th of February, and I know full well what day that is because it is my eldest daughter's birthday. So today we have been celebrating her 6th birthday. We've had a party with pretty much all of her school friends, 30 kids running about the place, not here, thank God, at one of those play areas where you can just let them loose on big slides and everything. And then we've had some family around this afternoon, and it's been jolly pleasant all round. Slight change of background because I've had to sit somewhere else in the kitchen because over there is a massive pile of washing up. So we're going to, I still need to catch up because I have had no time to try and get a couple of drams in to give myself a head start. So tonight we're going to do 2, and I could probably do with about 6 after the day that I've had. I'm feeling a bit kind of out of it, but we must press on. The challenge continues. So tonight we're going to have 2 which purely by chance end up being made in the same place. So the first one I'm going to have, you can see this glass here, you can see my jigger, and you can see a miniature here. Now this is going to be the next one that I have, but not unfortunately, but I can't put the other one here because it is a full-size bottle, so it's going to come in here looking rather huge, and as you'll probably see, it is Bulleit Bourbon. You probably heard of this and seen this because this is quite a big brand, particularly in the UK. Now you'll notice actually from the bottle, and it was one that when I was working at the whiskey shop, it was kind of being marketed as a Froniter Whiskey. In fact, it does actually say it. I'm not sure if you'll be able to read that in the embossed glass, but it calls itself a Froniter Whiskey. Basically, it was first produced by a guy called Augustus Bulleit in around the 1830s. And he was producing a whiskey that was 2/3 rye and one third corn, which nowadays makes it technically not bourbon, because obviously bourbon has to be more than 51% corn. But this was how Augustus was making it back then, when we didn't have regulations and legislations and associations. It was just get out there and do it. The whiskey itself stopped being produced when he died, so it was a relatively short-term release. But his great-great-grandson, a guy called Tom, restarted making bourbon, making the whiskey, and kind of harking back to how his great-great-grandfather was making it. So this was in 1987 when he first relaunched it, essentially. It was bought by Seagram's in 1997. And they then moved distillation and production to a distillery in Lawrenceburg in Kentucky. So I'm going to put a map of Lawrenceburg now, so you can see where it is. Diageo now own it. Diageo, one of the biggest drinks companies in the world, and they're really responsible for making Bulleit such a big brand as it is now. So the way that it's made now is, I'm trying this open, it is 68% corn. Obviously it needs to be over 50% anyway. So it's 68% corn, 28% rye, and then 4% barley. Now for a bourbon, it's still a fairly high rye content, and the Froniter Whiskey marketing not only is harking back to Augustus himself at sort of that time of making his whiskey, but they're also been using that in terms of using that in terms of how the actual whiskey kind of feels and tastes, and that higher rye content is going to do that for you. It's going to give you a little bit of an edge and a little bit of roughness. Now it's been a while since I've had this. That's actually my bottle, and it's been open for quite a while, so there's a chance that it might have softened out just a little bit in the bottle because there is that kind of air gap, and it could have just evaporated slightly. But I'm still going to trust that it's pretty much similar to if you cracked open a brand new bottle now. There is an edginess on the nose. There is a sweet caramel feel. There is a sweetness there. Slightly artificial, but I think that's probably the rye that's going in there that's just giving that edge. It's 45%, so 90 US proof, but it is a little bit edgy. I'm trying to think what it was I had the other day. I think it was the Knob Creek that was 50%, and this nose has got that firiness that extra percentage had on the Knob Creek. Probably not quite as deep either. Yeah, that dryness really kicks in. Now, it's actually smoother than the nose suggests it's going to be. The fieriness isn't quite there, but it's still quite tight. The flavours that are there are really quite tight packed in together. It doesn't flow and envelop your palate and swill around your mouth and spark off little different senses and kind of reactions within your mouth. It's pretty much there, it's smooth, it's down, there's a bit of a burn at the back of the throat, and that's it. There is an edginess to it, but it's not unpleasant, it's not particularly pronounced. Yeah, there's not much on a finish either. It's actually quite pleasant. I had it in my head that I wasn't that keen on this. I had it in my head that I thought this was rough as fuck. But it's not really, to be honest. It's actually a lot smoother than I thought. Now, it might be the fact that it's been sat with a bit of a gap there for a few months, because it's been a while since I've had it. But I probably need to give this more of a chance, because it's better than I had preconceived it was, having had it before, if that makes sense. Get myself confused. Hey, look, it's been a really long day, kids' parties. I'm surprised I'm speaking at all. I should be just like that. But yeah, actually really pleasant. Surprisingly, you know, it's kind of caught me off guard, and I was expecting to say it's got an edginess to it, it's quite rough, it's okay, but it's not brilliant. But actually, it's better than I remember it. Yeah, there's almost a juiciness to it as well. There's kind of a, not citrusy, but it's kind of that juicy hard candy, Jolly Ranchers type feel to it. Actually, really good. Yeah, that's gone down a surprising treat. You're looking at probably about 25, 30 quid, and probably the same in dollars in the US. But yeah, give it a go. It's well worth a shout. It's a nice bottle as well, so it's good to give as a present. But yeah, hey, if they were drinking that on the Frontier, yeah, sign me up on horseback any day. Right, rinse everything out, and I'll do another one. See you in a bit.